Hey guys, welcome back to my Saw channel. Today I'm just going to do another little, hopefully brief discussion video. I know it's been a hot minute since I posted any chainsaw content, a couple of reasons for that. My usual excuse is overtime at work has been pretty comprehensive. I've been making some good money doing the land surveying thing, but it sort of puts a cap on my free time, when I leave for work in the dark in the morning and get home in the dark in the evening. But, you know, can't complain about that. And then also, my mom just had her left knee replaced, which is knee number 2 of 2, 2 weeks ago tomorrow, actually. And PT is doing very well, and she's on the up and up. So come summertime, she's going to get back into all the things that she misses doing. Hiking, swimming, kayaking, bike riding is going to be a big one. So again, that's all looking pretty good. A couple of saw projects I am going to be working on pretty soon. I've got a Homelite EZ6 that I'm in the process of acquiring from a buddy that I met on House of Homelite. Is sort of the younger brother to the original EZ, which not the 60s EZ or the Super EZ. I mean, this is the original EZ from the 1950s that was Homelite's first direct drive chainsaw. Up until then, they were selling gear drives and belt drives. But the EZ and then the EZ6. So the EZ6 is the second direct drive chainsaw model that Homelite was offering in the 1950s. And all in all, the saw looks pretty clean. I can't remember if he said that it fires on prime or not, but pretty much within a couple hours of unboxing it, I'm sure I'll be able to get it running again. I love working on those old things. And then another one I have ordered it 2 months ago from the infamous Ladybug 007 on eBay. She's pretty notorious for sending packages a little bit late. The first one I got from her was a 1959 Terry Green Buzz that arrived promptly within like a week or two. The next one was a Lombard 35, marketed as a 316, which a lot of them were. That one took better part of a month to come. This third saw now is 2 months out, and hasn't been marked shipped or anything, but I'm pretty sure I'll get it. I'm not gonna raise a stink until another month or two goes by, and then I'm just gonna be like, okay, what's going on here? But she's got so many saws on her eBay page that I'd have a hard time keeping track of that inventory. But anyway, those are going to be two new old saws I'll be working on. In my free time lately, I've been spending a lot of time on the chainsawcollectors.se forum, where I'm a moderator over there. And I've been compiling serial numbers from saws I find online, from my own collection, and then also from a list of Joyce Wilson's sales records. She ran a chainsaw shop starting in the 1950s, I think, in Indiana. And, starting in the end of 1951 all the way up through 2010, she kept fairly meticulous records of just about every chainsaw that she sold, some 5,000 saws, starting with the old belt drive 26 LCS Homelite, all the way up to like the limited edition Super XLs, and even the Super 2s, but even those are older models, but all in all, some 5,000 saws in that list. So far, I've entered, I think, 3,700, somewhere around there, so I'm about 3/4 of the way. Actually, earlier today, I just finished up the 1970s, and I started on the 1980s. Whole lot of Super XL automatics in that list. That's like, and there's no surprise. I mean, the XL12, when that came out, that more or less revolutionized the homeowner saw market overnight. That ever since the early 1960s, when she sold her first XL12 all the way up through the end, I mean, the bulk of her sales, I think, at this point were either XL12s or Super XL automatics. I know there were some Super XLs that were an automatic, but she never made that distinction in the list, so I'm just lumping all those in with the Super XL automatics. And, we'll just go from there, but that list is getting freaking huge now. That master list is massive, and it's only going to get bigger, so that's cool. One of the cool things about this list, honestly, is the older Homelites, the 6-digit and 7-digit serial numbers were made before Homelite started encoding the dates of manufacture into like the 8-digit and 9-digit serial numbers. So there's really no way with the 6 and 7-digit numbers to really determine a precise date of manufacture. You can get close actually with this list because again, she lists the saws by model, serial number, and sale date. So, for example, the first saw in my collection from the 1950s was that Terry Green Homelite Buzz that I got from Ladybug, serial number 965526. And of course, Joyce, aka Chainsaw Lady, didn't sell that saw from her shop. But in that list, starting in November of 1959, she had a saw that was actually 978050. So that tells me that my saw with a serial number that's a little older than that one in her list would have been manufactured in 1959, probably in the fall sometime. It seemed like she was pretty quick to sell the saws that were just coming out, like the XL12 or the Whiz or the Zip, any of those, when they first come out onto the shelves, she was selling them. And, she sold a lot. But it's really cool to be able to use this document to get a rough date on some of those old saws that otherwise we really don't know, so whether you're a collector or like me or a hobbyist or, maybe somebody who was just received a saw from a relative, who passed on or something, and they're just curious about, when was my XL12 made? Using this list, you can get yourself pretty much within either a month or within definitely a season of the year as to when those saws were made, which is a valuable resource. So I know Chainsaw Lady has since passed away at the age of 95, and she was selling saws and saw parts well past her 90th birthday. So that tells me that she really enjoyed doing what she was doing, and all of us in the collector hemisphere have to thank her for that. And that document, her sales list, is available free of charge on House of Homelite. You do have to become a member there in order to view it and download it, but it's easy enough. Just create a username, use your email address, and it's a really friendly community, like the Swedish Chainsaw Collectors Forum. That one's really more of a database, but House of Homelite it's just a really friendly discussion forum. Talk about Homelite chainsaws, tractors, string trimmers. I post a lot in the off-topic section talking about other brands of saws, but any discussion that we have about one model of saw can really be retrofitted to other models. I mean, theoretically, a lot of these are really the same at heart. But anyway. If you're not a member at House of Homelite, it's a really friendly community, and I've made quite a few friends there. A couple of them I still buy saws from now, and when you make connections like that, I'm much happier and much more comfortable, like giving those guys my money for saws than I am some random eBay seller, who has questionable feedback ratings and questionable reputation. So. If you're interested in buying saws or looking for parts or just want to talk about them, share your collection, consider joining those two forums. I mean, we'd love to hear your stories and see your saws, and I'd love to get a hold of your serial numbers because I'm a huge serial number nerd. I like working with data and compiling data and like placing my saws or other users' saws in the context of a master list, like what Wilson offered. It's just an incredible resource, a great group of guys and gals over at those forums. So, consider joining. But anyway, just giving you guys a brief 10-minute update, some of the things I've been doing at home. And now that the weather's getting nicer, I'm hoping to get back outside and create some more saw videos. And I got my, the snow piles now are gone from my test logs, so I can start making some cutting videos and other discussion videos with some of my old 1950 saws. So until then, which I hope is soon, take care, guys. Thanks for sticking with me if you stuck with me this far, listening to me ramble. And stay safe, especially playing with old saws. Stay safe, keep all your fingers, and take care of yourselves and take care of each other, because it's a crazy world out there. No matter what side you lean politically, it's things are crazy. So just take care of each other, because we're all in this together. See you guys next time. Bye.